Toys and books. I was so scared. Joe could be cleaning Jamie Edwards' house. I could just imagine Jamie lounging on a velvet chaise lounge in his posh William Morris papered parlor, snapping his fingers imperiously at Joe. "Hey you, cleaning lady, get me another cushion," he'd command. "I've spilled crumbles all over the carpet, so get cracking with the hoover. And don't sigh like that or I'll dock your wages." I could see it as clear as anything. Poor Joe would have to wash Jamie's clothes and tidy Jamie's bed and dust all Jamie's possessions. Maybe Jamie had a brace of younger brothers just as bratty as him, and she'd have to wash their clothes and tidy their beds and dust their toys. If he had a baby brother, she'd maybe even have to wash and tidy and dust him down. "It's not your Jamie Edwards' house," said Joe. "This is the Rosen family, Mr. and Mrs. with 2 teenage daughters." I practically passed out with relief. "Are you disappointed?" said Joe. "Did you hope I'd get to go in your Jamie's bedroom to tell you all about the posters on his wall and whether he still has a teddy on his bed, and maybe even have a sneaky peek in his diary to see if he ever writes anything about you?" "He's not my Jamie," I shrieked. "You're so nuts, Joe. I keep telling you, I can't stick him." Joe wasn't the only one who teased me about terrible Jamie Edwards. Lisa and Angela had started up this stupid game too. I was starting to get seriously annoyed with them. I didn't know what had got into them this year at school. Last year we were the 3 leaders of nearly all the girls, and we had this special club badge with GAB on it, short for Girls Are Best, and we all called each other Gabby, and we had this cheerleader chant I made up. "Girls are best, never mind the rest, boys are a pest, so girls are best." Some of the other girls got a bit fed up and drifted away, but Lisa and Angela and I kept up our special girls gang all the time, and the 3 of us always went to yuck and pulled a face whenever any of the boys spoke to us. I wanted to extend the rules to cover men too, but Lisa said that was daft because her dad was a man and she loved him better than anyone else in the whole world, and Angela was equally awkward and got this immense crush on this pop star and squealed whenever she saw him on the telly, and she stuck hundreds of pictures of him all over her bedroom walls and kissed every one of them goodnight when she went to bed, and she did inky designs of his name entwined with hers all over her school books and her ruler and her bag and even on the sleeve of her jacket, though her mom got very knocked about that. Liza and I thought Angela had gone incredibly crackers because this guy she likes is pathetic. Angela agrees with us now, and she's torn down all his pictures and crossed out his name, and she's got a new jacket. But she's in love with another pop group now. All of them, and she's forever striking up these boring conversations about what she'd do if she could only get to meet them. I knew that if only I'd been able to sit next to Angela at school as I'd planned, then I'd have been able to be a good influence on her and keep her under control. She was starting to get on my nerves so much I was wondering about whittling my best friends down to 1. But then Lisa fell in love too. And that was worse because she started to go crazy over David Wood, and he's certainly not a famous star in a band. He's just this ultra boring boy in our class at school. "He's not ultra boring," Lisa squeaked. "He's dead cool. I love the way he does his hair and his eyes, and he looks really old for his age, doesn't he? Because he's so tall. He might look old, but he acts like a toddler," I said, disgusted. "Didn't you see him in the canteen throwing his lunch around?" "That was just his bit of fun," said Lisa. One of his chips landed right in my lap. "Oh, wow, how could you contain your excitement?" I said, dead sarcastic. "She ate it too," said Angela, "after he'd drooled all over it." "I wouldn't mind if he drooled all over me," said Lisa. "Oh, shut up," I said. "Honestly, I think you had a lobotomy in the summer holiday." "A lobby what?" said Lisa. "It's an operation they perform on your brain," I said. "Don't you know anything?" "I know one thing, Charlie Enright. You're getting a right pain, always showing off and looking down your nose at other people. You're getting just like Jamie Edwards." "Yeah, maybe it's rubbing off on her because they sit together," said Angela, giggling in this particularly irritating way. "Hey, Lisa, Charlie and Jamie, what a pair!" "They're always yakking away together, certainly. Miss Beckworth had to tell them off the other day. They were getting so carried away," said Lisa, giving Angela a nudge. "You're the one who's in danger of getting carried away." In a body bag, I said, giving them both a simultaneous example of my sort of nudge. I have very, very sharp elbows. I hardly ever speak to Jamie Edwards, and when I do, it's just to have a ferocious argument with him. However, I needed to speak to Jamie in a dead casual, almost friendly way to find out exactly where he lived in Oxford Terrace. He knew what Joe looked like. We'd both been going to this school since we were practically babies. For years and years, our moms had delivered us or collected us. I had noticed that Jamie's mom was plump and beady-eyed like him, with lots of hair and jazzy jumpers on colored tights and bright boots, none of them matching. He had probably noticed that Jo was much younger than the other moms and dyed her hair to match mine and wore high heels to make her just a tiny bit taller. It's awfully hard to strike up a dead casual, almost friendly conversation with someone you can't stick. We're barely allowed to breathe in Miss Beckworth's classes anyway, let alone converse. But at playtime, I took ages putting away my books and let Lisa and Angela go off by themselves. Jamie always took his time too, not at all keen to go out into the playground. He's not the outdoor type. He's hopeless at football and he can't even run properly. His arms and legs go every which way. He isn't bullied by the other boys because he can be quite quick and cutting with what he says, but he's not exactly number one popular person with his peers. Not like some people I could mention if I wanted to be disgustingly boastful. He generally slopes off into a corner by himself and reads a book. I watched him take one out of his satchel. It was covered in the Victorian wrapping paper so you couldn't see the title. "What's that you're reading then, Jamie?" I asked. He looked at me suspiciously. "Why?" "I just want to know, for goodness sake," I said. "With you it's usually for badness sake," said Jamie. "Let's have a look then," I said, reaching for it. He hesitated, holding it away from me. "Are you going to hit me again if I don't let you?" he said. "That was different. That was my book. So what's yours? Why have you got it all wrapped up like that?" "Hey, it's a dirty book." "That's it, isn't it? Shock, scandal, sorry old James reading a rude book, and you didn't want anyone to see you reading it. What is it? Show me." "Get off," said Jamie, trying to push me away, but he was still wary of me. I snatched his book easily and opened it. "Esther Waters," I read, flicking through the pages. "Ooh, what a sreezel. It's just some boring old Victorian book. Typical you, Jamie Edwards. You're just doing some extra sewing up for your project, aren't you?" "The Victorians thought it was a rude book," said Jamie. "They were ever so shocked when it came out." Well, they were shocked by anything. They were so stupid they even covered up their piano legs. If a woman raised her skirt a few inches above her ankles, the chaps practically fainted dead away. I said scornfully. "So what does this Esther Waters get up to, Jamie? Is she so dead brazen she flashes her kneecaps?" "Oh, ha ha ha," said Jamie, sighing. I saw he had his bookmark more than halfway through. "Gosh, have you read all that? It looks terribly dull and difficult. You're mad," I said. "It's a good story, actually," said Jamie. "It's about this girl, Esther." "No." "And she's a servant and—" "She's a servant?" I said, stopping messing about. "Yes, and she goes to this big place in the country and this footman chats her up and she doesn't really want to go out with him, but he forces her and she ends up having a baby young and she's not married and she's lost her job." "Why are you staring at me like that?" said Jamie. "What is it?" "Nothing. It just doesn't sound quite as boring as I thought. Maybe I'll borrow it after you, okay?" I mostly stuck to reading horror stories. The spookier and scarier the better, but I wanted to find out more about this Esther. What happens to her? Does she keep her baby? Does she get a job? She doesn't get married at the end, does she? I haven't got that far yet. Okay, you can borrow it after me, or some of my other books if you want. I've got a whole lot of Victorian ones sorted out because of my project. "Oh, Jamie, you would," I said. Then I suddenly realized this was my golden opportunity. "So I might come round to your famous Victorian house sometime and see your books." "What number Oxford Terrace?" "Number 62, said Jamie. I felt my stomach squeeze. Number 62. Joe's Rosen family lived at number 58, next door but one to Jamie. What if he saw her going into their house? What if Jamie's mom nipped along the road to have a cup of coffee with Mrs. Rosen when Joe was dashing around with a duster? What if Jamie's mom thought Joe looked that handy with a hoover and offered her a job? I was proud that she was working so hard, but I couldn't stand the idea of her cleaning all Jamie's junk. Has your mom got her own cleaning lady? I blurted out before I could stop myself. Jamie blinked at me, baffled. What? Why? Are you scared you'll get all dusty if you come around to my house? He said. Does your mom do her own dusting? I persisted. No, mom's hopeless at any sort of housework. We did have a cleaning lady once, but then she got ill and... You're not looking for another one, are you? I asked, horrified. My dad does the housework now, the hoovering and that. Mom might do the bathroom and I'm supposed to do some stuff. Me and my brother, only we skeeve mostly. Why? I shrugged elaborately. I got interested in the whole idea of housework and stuff because of my certain project, I said. Angela and Lisa put their heads around the classroom door. Come on, Charlie, playtime's nearly over. What are you doing? Said Angela. Of course, we don't want to interrupt anything if you and Jamie are busy, said Lisa, giggling. I'm coming, I said, charging over to them. But then that idiotic Jamie put his great big foot in it. So you're coming round to my house after school tonight, right? He said in front of Lisa and Angela. Their mouths dropped open. Mine did too. Wrong, I said and rushed off. Lisa and Angela rushed too. We were just kidding you before, but you really have got a thing going with Jamie, haven't you? Said Angela. You're going round to his house? Said Lisa. Oh, I do wish Dave would ask me around to his house. I'm not going round to Jamie Edwards' house, I insisted. He was just going on about these boring Victorian books, and he seemed to think I was mad enough to want to look at them. That's all. My heart was thumping a beat as I said it. I knew I was kind of twisting the truth, but I had to stop Liz and Angela getting the wrong idea once and for all. So all that day I sent them notes under the quivering Beckworth nose as often as I dared with silly caricatures of Jamie and rude little rhymes about him. Jamie saw his name and must have thought I was writing a note to him. He peered over my arm and read it. I'd just written a very rude bit about him. Sorry. Far too rude to be repeated where adults like Miss Beckworth might whip this book out of your hands at any minute. Jamie read the very rude bit. He blinked. He didn't look baffled this time. He looked upset. Still, it was his own fault, wasn't it? He shouldn't have been nosy enough to read my private notes. I passed it to Angela and she cracked up with silent laughter, and then she passed it on to Lisa and she read it and snorted out loud and had to protest to Miss Beckworth that she had a horrible cold and couldn't help it. Lisa and Angela and I all fell about helplessly when we came out of school. I certainly didn't go round to Jamie's house after school. Lisa and I went round to Angela's house first because her big brother had just got some dead flash roller blades for his birthday, and we were hoping we'd get to her home from our school a good half hour before he got back from his school, so we could all maybe have a sneaky go on his blades. But he'd got wise to Angela's really wheeze and installed a brand new padlock on his bedroom cupboard. We found this old skateboard stacked in a corner, but we weren't really into skateboarding anymore. And anyway, one of the wheels was all wobbly. Angela's mom was doing a day shift at the hospital, so she couldn't fix us anything exciting to eat, so we all went round to Lisa's instead. That was far more promising because Lisa's mom was being a hostess for a jewelry party that evening, and so she was making all these fiddly little vol-au-vents and tarts. She let us sample them while she got busy icing a cake. Lisa wanted us to go straight up to her bedroom, but I hung around her mom for a bit, watching how she did the icing with this natty little squeezy bag. I always wondered how people wrote those little messages, I said. Is it difficult? No, pet, it's easy as anything, said Lisa's mom, and when she had finished, she let me practice icing these cookies she'd baked. I iced my name and then Lisa's and then Angela's. That was dead crafty, because we got to eat them. I asked Lisa's mom how she made the cake, and she thought I was angling for a slice of that too. Sorry, pet, I'm saving it for the ladies at my party. Hey, maybe your mother would like to come. She hesitated. I mean, just for the chit-chat at the party. I know she's not really in a position to buy any jewelry right at this moment. She goes to bed really early now because she has to get up at 5 for this new job, I said. Lisa's mom's smooth face went into a crease of pain. Oh my goodness, she's being so brave, she said, as if Joe went and wrestled with a pit of poisonous snakes instead of one unwieldy industrial cleaner. But I really would like to know how to make a sponge cake like that. We don't make cakes at home, I said. Well, it's so simple and really not very expensive. Tell your mother you just need to put the butter and the sugar and the flour in the blender and... No, we haven't got a blender. Liz's mom stared as if I'd said we hadn't got a kitchen. Oh, well, I suppose you could mix it all by hand. I know. She went to her shelf of cookery books beside the spice rack and pulled out an old fat book. The pages had gone a little yellow. She flicked through it. Uh-huh. This was my mother's cookery book. She certainly didn't have a blender. Yes, there's a whole section on the cake making. Do you think your mother would like to borrow it? It's not for Joe. It's for me. I'd love to borrow it, I said eagerly. I want to suss out how to make cakes, proper ones, not the packet sort. Well, good for you. I wish my Liza would get interested in cookery. You're a strange girl, Charlie. You've always seemed such a tomboy. I never thought you'd get keen on cake making. Still, you're all getting older. It's only natural you're changing. I'm not changing, I said quickly. What's that saying? Too old for toys, but too young for boys. Though my Lisa has certainly started on boys already. It's Dave this and Dave that until we're sick of the sound of him. Which boy do you like, Charlie? None of them, I said firmly. Give it another 6 months, said Liz's mom, smiling at me. I had to stay polite because she'd just lent me the cookery book, but when I got home to Joe, I moaned like anything. She's treating me like I'm retarded or something, I said. I could still play with my Barbie dolls. What's wrong with Barbie dolls? Said Joe. She used to buy me lots of Barbies with all their different outfits, and we'd dress them up and drive them around in their Cadillac and take them to the disco and make them bop up and down on their tiny high heels. I think Joe liked playing Barbie games just as much as I did, if not more. I wanted to chuck all mine out ages ago, but she wouldn't let me. Store them in a drawer and keep them for your daughter, she said. So they're stored. I took off all their glitzy little outfits and laid them on their backs in my underwear drawer and covered them with bits of old pillowcase, playing one last ritual game with them. Mortuaries. Joe got totally unnerved when she opened the drawer looking for spare socks. Have you come to view the corpses? I said. You're a seriously weird child. It's coming from a single-parent family, I said. I'm seriously deprived. It's no wonder I'm weird. I was only joking, of course. I like being a select family of two. Joe and me, and that's the way it's always going to be.